Season 4 of ISL. It's time. It's time to finally go 10-0. It's time to finally draft a good team. It's time to win. But I am in Platinum Division, which is the highest division, which is full of players who, they've been playing since I was born. So, to be honest, I'm not that confident. It's a very competitive league. The players are all super good, even in the lowest division. So this season, it's limited decks, which, to be honest, really isn't great. I've played one limited decks league, and I got demolished. I actually didn't make playoffs in that league, so yeah, it's probably not going to go well, but you'll be able to see my journey. So the draft order got released. I found out I was 10th out of 14 people, so I was pretty pissed off, I'm not going to lie. That really wasn't a good placement. Like, all the Dragapults and the other really good tier ones, they were all going to get taken by my turn. So, to be honest, going into this draft, I wasn't expecting a good team. I was expecting just a really bad put together team, but I'm actually quite happy with it, so I'm going to roll with it and see how many games I don't get 6-0. Looking at tier 1s, there really wasn't anything worth picking, to be honest. Like, from 10th pick, there was nothing left. I was picking up Dragapult scraps. So I didn't actually go for a tier 1 first pick, I went for a tier 2. But my tier 1 pick is Necrozma. So Necrozma's kind of weird. Because I used it in season 2. I brought it 2 games. It died both games. Because I really don't know how to use Necrozma. It got bobbed. I ran weakness policy autotomized both weeks without really even thinking. And then I realized that's not how it's meant to go, so it got dropped after 2 weeks. But this season I'm actually willing to try it and not just commit it into weakness policy, because, to be honest, it's got a lot better sets. So looking at Necrozma, the one thing that struck out to me is Meteor Beam, because now with Meteor Beam, with Power Herb, you can get a +1 boost and then obviously fire off to Meteor Beam. And from there, to be honest, there's not great deal that wants to take a +1 Necrozma, like, unless even dark types and stuff with its coverage can't really take it that well, unless I miss Focus Blast, which is very likely. So it just seemed pretty cool, to be honest. Like, it's very versatile. I can use it rocks with bulky, or just sweep with Meteor Beam. Obviously the weakness policy set is still a thing. Whether or not I'm actually going to bring it is a whole different thing, but yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's not great at all, but to be honest, unless you get like the first 4 picks or so, in my opinion, tier 1 just really wasn't worth picking. So I decided to get something that would offer a lot of different things. So moving past Necrozma, we get to my actual first pick of the draft, which was a lola. To be honest, it was the only Pokemon I wanted to use in limited decks. Because without Megas and certain nat decks like Pseudos and stuff, there was just nothing I really wanted to use. But we'll go Lola. It didn't get sniped, because if it did, I would hurt myself. But yeah, it's just really strong. With Thick Club doubling its attack stat. And then you've got Rockhead to stop taking recoil from Flare Blitz and stuff like that. It's just really good. Like, it just hits really hard. It also does get Lightning Rod, which kind of works, because I went for an electric surge kind of team. So anything that gets bopped by electric, Marowak can take. But to be honest, it's mainly there just for its offensive capabilities. It does obviously, under Trick Room, it kills everything in the game. But it's a case of managing to get a Lola Marowak in Trick Room without my opponents expecting it, which doesn't happen at all. So it can be run defensively-ish. It's got pretty good normal defense. Special defense is kind of lacking, and it's going to die from, every Shadow Ball in the game. But it's not bad. It's certainly not bad. So next pick, I picked up a Lola Raichu, which it seems weird now, but I do actually have Electric Terrain, which I picked up later on. But yeah, so Raichu really is only good under terrain. I mean, 110 base speed's cool, because obviously limited decks. there's really not much speed. Like if you don't have a Zera or a Dragapult or a Cinderace, like your team really isn't getting anywhere in terms of speed. But so under terrain, I believe it's the fastest thing, like, you know, in the game. Because I don't even think like Scarf Dragapult outspeeds it, but obviously if like agility Cinderace would outspeed it and stuff like that. But 95 special attack is a little bit low considering 50 defense, but it gets access to Nasty Plot. And to be honest, late game it can kind of just come in and clean teams. I mean, it forces people to prep a lot for it, I think, because realistically on my whole team, you'll see at the end, I don't really have many threats. Like the whole gimmick of my team is electric terrain, electric spam, but I feel like a lot of people will probably prep the most for Raichu, to be honest, because if you're not prepped for it, it will run through your team. So after Raichu, I picked up Vaporeon, which is interesting, I know, because of the surge. It is bulky, but it's not looking to take too many electric moves under terrain. But to be honest, it's mainly there for Fat Wishes, and it's also bulky water, so a lot of Marowak, if we do run Lightning Rod, that's Vaporeon's immunity sorted, and that's Marowak's immunity sorted because it does have water absorb. So 110 special attack's also pretty cool. It's actually the second strongest special attacker on my team, which it's got more special attack than Raichu, which I think is funny as hell. But mainly its purpose is just being a cleric. You know, it's got Wish, Toxic. It just kind of sits there in front of quite a lot of stuff, preferably if terrain's not up, because I don't want to get surprise thunder punched, and it does times 3 damage. Well, not times 3, but 1.3. Yeah, I mean, it helps my team, kind of, because originally I picked Hitmonlee, and I didn't have any reliable Wish, because I've only got Alolan Raichu, which isn't really, you know, I'm not looking to run fat Alolan Raichu, especially with 50 defense. So yeah, Vaporeon just kind of sits there and just kind of heals up Necrozma, Alolan Marowak, just to sort of the more bulkier side of things that don't have any decent recovery. Well, I think Necrozma might get recover, but I know Alolan Marowak definitely doesn't. So that's it. My whole team is pretty much based around Alolan Marowak, so the things you see are going to help it win. So Alolan Marowak being my first pick, I had 8 more picks before it came back to me, so I was looking, I was seeing what do I think people will take, like what's more used to have, and I decided to say fuck it and go for Pink Urchin. Picking a tier 3 round 2 probably wasn't the best idea, but with it being the only one you can set Surge on switching, Electric Surge eyes, I kind of felt like it was necessary. I know a lot of people were saying, oh well, you know, people clearly didn't want electric terrain and stuff like that, but you know what? I couldn't forgive myself if that got taken, because that ruins everything. Like, I only really had the plan of electric terrain plus Marowak. So if electric terrain got taken, it would be Marowak, and that's it. Everything else would be fodder. So Pink Urchin is still good. Maybe not round 2, but it's a good spike setter. T-spikes, memento, self-destruct. Obviously, terrain's its main benefit, but it can actually hit, which is pretty good. Its only attacking moves are electric and water, but it's still not bad. It's definitely not bad. Physical or special, obviously it gets rising voltage, which is pretty cool. Even though again, with a base speed of 15, like it's not speeding anything. But it can take most hits, unless you've got like a banded crocodile. It's probably about to send Pink Urchin back to the womb. But yeah. So next I've got another mon that I added in my team through free transactions. I can't remember who I dropped. I think I dropped Porygon Z because I wanted a normal type, but I kind of realized my ground ground immunities don't exist, and my whole team, well, not my whole team, but my team gets torn apart by ground. So we'll have Bravery. Bravery normal flying type is an okay type. Obviously it's weak to electric, which is why a lot of Marowak's kind of important here. But obviously you can take the ghost moves that Raichu's weak to, Marowak's weak to, Necrozma's weak to, and it can take the ground moves that Raichu's weak to, Marowak's weak to, Pink Urchin's weak to, so it covers them pretty well. I mean, Braviary's not really a defensive mon. It's got Defiant, which is pretty cool if someone tries like defog terrain away and I switch in and get the boost. Even though that's unlikely because people are going to know. But Sheer Force as well, obviously one of the better abilities out there. So it just hits like really hard. 123 base attack and 100 base HP, which is okay, but 75 in both defenses is meh. 80 base speed is actually not that important considering I've got Necrozma, but you know, it's still okay. Mainly it's just going to be attacking, but it does get Tailwind, U-turn. Pretty sure it gets Toxic as well, even though I mean Toxic Bravery isn't really something I want to be running, but yeah, I mean it's solid. I had Scyther originally, I think, which might have been a bit better with a Technician boost and stuff, but I think it helps the team ish. But what do I know? I don't know. My team's kind of all fallen apart at this point. From the first snipe of Hydreigon, it all went downhill. So yeah, next is Crafty. Now, to be honest, this is one of the other mons that I'm the most excited to use, even though it is really slow. 58 base speed isn't great. It's Scrafty's my most defensive mon on my team. 115 in both defenses, 4 times weakness to fairy. It's gonna go well. It gets Intimidate, which is obviously super cool. Moxie as well, and it does get Dragon Dance, so unfortunately it doesn't get Scale Shot, which would be pretty cool. But with the Dragon Dance, I'm fast-ish, but not really. There's still a lot of things outspeeding us, but it can just, again, clean a game, clean a team late game. And Shedskin is useful with some teams, I guess. I mean, if someone's running like Stall or Glare, that's one in particular. Shedskin with 30% chance to remove the status condition, it's pretty cool. It can hit hard physically. It's not hitting anything specially, so that's not even an option. It gets Taunt, Super Fang. Obviously, it's a knockoff user. Like, it's okay considering I think it's tier 3. Like, I wouldn't say it's a bad tier 3. It gives us a fighting type, which I needed because last season, or was it season 4? I didn't draft fighting type and I kind of got punished for it, to be honest, because there's just a lot of stuff which fighting stab's just good for. But yeah, is there anything else to say about Crafty? I don't know. It's just super cool looking one. I just really want to use it, to be honest. So after Scrafty, it's Comfy. So I needed a fairy type. I think I picked Comfy one of the last rounds, so it was really late fairy, and it's funny when I drafted it. There was a few people who weren't happy. One in particular, KJ. I know you're seeing this. Yeah, I kind of just sniped them, but I didn't mean to. It's good priority. Obviously, triage gets a Drain and Kiss, Giga Drain, have priority. It's got Calm Mind. It's actually okay defog user. Its defenses are pretty good, 90 and 110 respectively. 100 base speed is the most vital thing that Comfy brings to my whole team, because I had the 110 with Raichu and then the rest of my team doesn't get past 80, so it gets U-turn as well, which is also cool, and Trick Room. So I can Trick Room U-turn and get the threat in, obviously Marowak. But yeah, I mean, Natural Cure can also be good, but realistically, Triage is the only one I'll be using. So 82 base special attack isn't great, but it's not bad. I think it definitely needs Calm Mind if I'm running offensively, because you can't really just run Life Orb and just expect to clean teams unless they've got Aurora and Grass weakness, which I don't think anyone has ever drafted more than 2 Grass weaknesses in the entire team, but it might be useful. I don't really know. I've never used it before, so it could be good, but it could also be terrible for us because I don't know how to use that shit. So next is a lowland Sandslash, which is my only steel type, which isn't great. Steel Nice typing is really bad. That's 4 times fire weakness and fighting weakness. And with my steel type, I don't really want to get absolutely demolished by everything. And with 65 special defense, it's probably dying to an ember, to be brutally honest. 120 base defense is okay. The fighting type attacks I still can't take, but I mean, you get the point. Like, it can do stuff. It's a rapid spinner, which, I mean, it's only neutral to rocks, so it isn't great. But it's my only rapid spinner in the entire team. So if I don't want to defog my own electric terrain away, which I've got to watch out for, and I know one game this season I will in fact defog my terrain away. So yeah, I mean, 100 base attack as well is okay. Obviously with rapid spin it gives it speed boost. It's got triple axle, which is pretty good, I guess. I mean, icicle crash is also good for the flinch, but yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I can say about it. Like, it's not that useful, but it's a steel type nonetheless, and you know, we're just gonna roll with it. And then the last pick to finish off my draft was Gloom. It's in tier 5, and do you know what? I think it was really good in tier 5. Grounded poison type, so I'm not gonna get, well, I still might get T-Spike, but it can soak up T-Spikes. It also gives us grass type I didn't have, which, I mean, grass types aren't that useful. But I mean, with Eviolite, it's kind of just fat with 70 base defense, 70 speed F. I mean, 60 HP isn't great, but it's incredibly weak to knockoff. If a knockoff happens on Gloom, it's game over. That's just used for a sack later in the game. But Strength Sap, Toxic, Synthesis, Moonlight, obviously it's got good recovery options. Sludge Bomb, Giga Drain being pretty much its only attack moves. I mean, I think it gets Moonblast, which is quite useful, but mainly it's just here to sort of eat a particular side of hits, whether it's special or physical. And if it's physical, I can just Strength Sap my way and then bring something else in. But I don't think I'm going to bring it to many games, to be honest. But it's always a good option. You know, if someone's not prepared for a Gloom, like what have they got for a well-played Gloom? Strength Sap, Toxic, Protect, Substitute. Actually, you don't even need sub 40 base speed's kind of trash, but it does get Chlorophyll, which, I mean, I can probably set Sunny Day with Marowak, but I'm never going to do that, ever. So yeah, that finishes off my Season 4 team. It's not great, like, I'll be honest. I already know this team is, I don't want to say the worst in the league, but it's getting there. It's really not great. But, you know what? I'm looking forward to using most of the mons. Like, it's pretty much all stuff I haven't used. But I feel like I really could have improved it. I feel like it lacks threat. Like, looking at the team, you've got Bravery, who I don't know if you'd really classify as threat, but realistically, Alola Marowak and Necrozma are the two that's like immediately looks like a threat, and they're both weak to Dark and Ghost, which kind of sucks. But either way, I'm excited to use it. Whether it goes well, I mean, we'll see during the weeks. But yeah,